Good afternoon and welcome to Arizona State University and the Spring 2019 Convocation Ceremony of the School for the Future of Innovation in Society. This is our school's 8th convocation, and we are thrilled to share this evening with you. My name is Jamie Wetmore, and I am an associate professor in the school. I have the pleasure of serving as your Master of Ceremonies this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, a distinguished platform party joins us for today's celebration. These faculty members and guest speaker are representatives of the faculty, students, and staff of our school. I would like now to introduce this platform party. If you could please stand when I call your name, and please hold any applause until everyone is standing. First of all, we have David Gustin, founding director of the school, Chevy Humphrey, honorary guest speaker, Andrew Maynard, Program Chair, Science and Technology Policy. Gary Grossman, Associate Director for Academic Programs. Fahim Hussain, Clinical Assistant Professor, Global Technology and Development. Clark Miller, Associate Director for Faculty. Eric Johnston, Program Chair, Human and Social Dimensions of Science and Technology. Netra Chetri, Program Chair, Innovation in Global Development, and Lori Heidinger, Director of Fiscal and Business Operations. I would now like to acknowledge the faculty and staff of the School for the Future of Innovation in Society. Will all faculty and staff in the audience please stand and be recognized for your contributions to our school. I would also like to acknowledge our alumni. They represent the Consortium for Science Policy and Outcomes, the Center for Nanotechnology and Society, and the School for the Future of Innovation in Society. They laid the foundation and set the standards of excellence that we celebrate in our graduates today. We would also like to acknowledge all the family, friends, and colleagues of our graduates today. Your unwavering support in this academic journey has been invaluable. So could all alumni, family members, friends, and colleagues of the graduates please rise so that we can recognize the important role that all of you have played in making this possible. It is now my pleasure to introduce David Gustin, the director of the School for the Future of Innovation in Society, to say a few words. Dr. Gustin.
Thank you, Dr. Wetmore. It is impossible for me to see any of you, given the lights, so anything that requires my seeing you will just have to be improvised. But welcome again, faculty and staff, family and friends, students, and most of all, graduates, wherever you are down there, to the 8th Convocation of the School for the Future of Innovation in Society. It has been quite a year, hasn't it? About 5 weeks ago, at the end of March, I had the opportunity to travel to Padua, Italy, for a conference. While I was there, I visited the University of Padua, which, founded in 1222, or earlier, is recognized as the 5th oldest university continually operating in the world. Its notable alums and faculty include the astronomers Copernicus and Galileo, and the early physicians Vesalius and William Harvey. We've got a long way to go, guys, but we're getting there. Just as a comparison, Arizona State University was founded, as many of you probably know, as the Territorial Normal School of Tempe in 1885, more than 660 years after Padua. It wasn't until 1958, more than 740 years following the University of Padua, that we became Arizona State University. The School for the Future of Innovation in Society, SFIS, wasn't founded until 2015, just short of 800 years after Padua. It's hard to conceive of comparisons across that kind of time, but let me try just a couple. Padua was founded by a band of scholars who fled the University of Bologna in search of greater academic freedom than they were afforded there. ASU's model of a new American university and its implementation here at SFIS, with our emphasis on intellectual fusion and interdisciplinarity, has meant that we have been able to recruit fabulous faculty, not yet Galileo, who feel that they have the freedom to do things here that they could not do elsewhere. At Padua, they conceived of themselves as an inclusive university. An important claim to this inclusivity is that Padua granted the very first Doctor of Philosophy to a woman, Elena Lucrezia Cornaro Piscopia, in 1678. It took them over 4.5 centuries to do it, but Padua still managed to do it first. The university's Latin motto, originating at about this time, was Universa Universis Patavina Libertas, or Paduan freedom is universal for everyone. It might be a bit of a stretch, but it does remind me of our attempt at SFIS to make a universal out of our particular with our motto, the future is for everyone. With this motto, we aspire to create a future that is inclusive in the way that people benefit from science and innovation. To achieve this aspiration, we need to be inclusive in how people learn about, engage with, and use science and innovation, even if they are not immediately creating new stuff, but especially if they are. So the future is for everyone helps faculty begin to explain and even steer their research and teaching interests with this aspiration in mind. Students who share these values are attracted to the school. We all build a culture that supports this aspiration, and thus we help bring such a future into being. The future that we are bringing into being today includes a small but talented group of 23 new graduates, 10 from our undergraduate programs in Innovation and Society, both a Bachelor of Science and a Bachelor of Arts, 4 from our Master of Science and Technology Policy program, 8 from our Master of Science in Global Technology and Development, and 1 from our doctoral program in the Human and Social Dimensions of Science and Technology. 18 of these students are here this afternoon. While all of these students have performed wonderfully, at this time I would like to acknowledge our outstanding graduate student, Natalie Mockbell. Natalie, please stand. Where are you? There you are. So, Natalie has received her Master of Science in Global Technology and Development with a GPA of 4.0. Natalie is one of the most energetic and accomplished students who have studied at SFIS. A native of Lebanon and a master's level graduate of the École Supérieure des Affaires of Beirut, Natalie brings her expertise in management and entrepreneurship to global issues and seeks solutions to some of the most vexing issues that we currently face. With her highly developed public engagement skills, she is able not only to clearly articulate the need for finding solutions, but she can also persuade even resistant people to engage with her. In her capstone study entitled The Impacts of Syrian Refugees' Influxes on Neighboring Host Countries, the Case of Lebanon, Natalie is not merely studying a phenomenon, but she proposes a plan that may contribute to a solution. Natalie is outstanding in every way, and she will become someone ASU will be proud to have as an alumna. Please join me again in congratulating Natalie on being this year's outstanding graduate student. Now, our outstanding undergraduate, Jadine Cobb. Jadine, please stand. Jadine is graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Innovation and Society with a 3.43 GPA. Jadine embodies the entrepreneurial spirit that we hope to instill in SFIS students. Not only has she done well in our courses and been an active participant in our undergraduate research program, but she has already found ways to innovate to make the world a better place. She is an Obama Scholar, works as a teacher for Science Matters to help students after school, and she tries to facilitate community change as a counselor for the Anytown Leadership Camp. She's created her own nonprofit organization, the Involvement Project, that uses digital art and community gatherings to help young adults address mental health challenges. Jadine is committed to solving the problems she sees around her and approaches them in a very SFIS kind of way by looking at the big picture and finding ways to equip others with the skills that are needed to redesign the entire system. She plans on continuing her education by pursuing graduate school in the area of digital design. Please join me again in congratulating Jadine, this year's outstanding undergraduate. We also like to acknowledge our graduates who have served in the United States Armed Forces. One of our graduates today with the Master of Science in Global Technology and Development is a veteran of the Marine Corps, Stephen Vysotsky. Stephen is not here today, but we thank him for his service. In order to attract and train such talented students, the school has gathered a quite remarkable faculty and staff. Among our faculty, we have almost as many academic disciplines represented as people, from electrical engineering, physics and geoscience, to law, political science, science and technology studies, and food science. We have award-winning teachers, pioneering scholars, gifted writers and editors, and dedicated public servants. We continue to hire tremendously talented faculty, often because they see our school and ASU as places unlike any other where they can accomplish their boundary-busting, community-serving goals. We added 5 new faculty at the beginning of this academic year. We welcomed 2 more in January, and we have at least 2 more joining us in the fall, possibly beyond that as well. I want to thank the faculty for their tremendous talents and efforts. Our staff have worked tirelessly to build this new school with students, degree programs, and yes, now our 8th convocation. Newer staff members have integrated seamlessly with our long-serving staff to create greater opportunities for everyone, extending the school's voice, projects, and enterprise well beyond its previous boundaries. Thank you for throwing your hard work and creativity into the school. None of us could do it without you. And I'd like to single out one staff member at the moment in particular because, like many of our staff, she has been pursuing a graduate degree here at ASU and has been selected as the outstanding graduate for her program this year. Congratulations to Marissa Huth, outstanding graduate from the Master of Education in Educational Technology program in Mary Lou Fulton Teachers College. Are you out there? She didn't know this was coming, so okay. And our students, of course, since this afternoon is all about you. I just wanted to recap a wonderful event that we had a few weeks ago that recognized some award-winning students within the school. At our autumn award ceremony and semi-annual poster jamboree, we give a Futures for Everyone award to deserving undergraduates, and we also have our charter awards for each of our academic programs for students who embody the values of the ASU Charter: excellence, access, and impact. At our spring event, we give graduate achievement awards to students in each of our graduate programs. This spring, those achievement award winners were, for the Human Social Dimensions of Science and Technology program, Martin Perez Comiso; for the Global Technology and Development program, Rebecca Delvin; and for the Science and Technology Policy program, Edna Contreras. We also give out school-wide awards, and this year a doctoral student, Nikki Stevens, won the Champion of the Future Award. Congratulations to you all again. So, universities regularly claim that they prepare students for the future. At SFIS, we make the set of plausible futures that lay before us a focus of our activities. We are planning now for the kinds of futures we will want to inhabit. Universities are at the forefront of innovation, generating and applying knowledge to improve our lives. At SFIS, we make innovation the object of systematic study and informed critique, so that we might get what we truly want and need out of our scientific and technical endeavors. Universities serve society by producing knowledge and facilitating opportunity. They educate new generations of informed citizens and skilled, productive workers. At SFIS, we aspire to be part of a larger effort at weaving together knowledge-based innovation and human wants and needs, recognized at the local, regional, national, and global levels, into a durable and beautiful social fabric. We have the privilege of attempting these distinctions at Arizona State University, which has now been ranked for 4 years in a row as the nation's most innovative university. Whether or not our efforts have contributed to that outcome, I like to think that they have. It's easier to see in the admiration of faculty and staff, the joy of family and friends, and the pride of students and graduates to what the school's efforts have truly contributed. Now I would like to introduce our honored guest speaker, Chevy Humphrey. Chevy, you'll get more chances. Chevy is the president and CEO of the Arizona Science Center and has been at the helm since 2005. Located in downtown Phoenix, the Arizona Science Center is a $12 million operation that attracts more than 500,000 visitors each year. The mission of the Science Center is to create a rich educational environment by hosting exhibits that engage individuals in lifelong learning about science. Creating programming for pre-kindergartners to high schoolers, offering girls STEM programs, facilitating team initiatives, and educating people of all ages. The Arizona Science Center has hosted world-renowned exhibits such as the Titanic, the Bodies Exhibition, and the Pompeii Exhibition. In 2014, Chevy was honored as one of Arizona Business Magazine's 50 most influential women, and in 2011, the Phoenix Business Journal named her as one of the most admired CEOs. Today, she's ours. Please welcome Chevy Humphrey.
Wow, that was a really big introduction. Thank you very, very much. Greetings and congratulations to everyone. I'm truly humbled and honored to be here with you on this significant event in your lives. You are graduating from the most innovative school in the United States, Arizona State University. You are also the bold individuals who chose to tackle the future of innovation in society. This means that of the more than 15,000 other graduates this year, you each in particular have self-selected to take on the huge responsibility to make this world a better place for all people. I hope that even if you remember not a single word of mine today, you will remember those of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. All life is interrelated. we are all bound together into a single garment of destiny. To believe in these words is to believe that all people have a place in the society of the future we are creating. It is also to believe in equity, justice, and self-determination for all people, no matter who they are or where they come from. When I was little, technology did not exist in the form it is today. I think I just call myself old. I was bused to school outside my neighborhood to gain a better education so that I could have a better future. But that was not enough for me, because it was not all about me. I knew there was a need in my neighborhood and a higher purpose. So I developed an idea that I would hold an after-school session in my garage for all my friends in the neighborhood so I could teach them what the privileged schools taught me. And every time my friends learned something, I would reward them with one of my toys. Eventually, my parents spent a fortune on toys. This activity shaped my way of thinking about what is possible and underscored for me that everyone deserves equality and an opportunity to learn. I've dedicated my career to this same pursuit. As president and CEO at Arizona Science Center, this simple idea of creating an equal playing field in science learning is what my ongoing quest is today. Taking what we do inside the center and going outside our walls through our many programs in schools is what can really make a difference. Today, we serve more than 500,000 visitors a year inside the Arizona Science Center, but in the past decade, we also have taken our programs to every county in the state of Arizona and are now impacting an additional 300,000 students every year. This vast increase of serving more than 800,000 people and providing them opportunities to think deeply about a better future. We see this as the best part we can play in addressing today's toughest challenges of education and equity and science literacy. Reaching out into the community helps us to think about how we can better meet human and social needs in the years to come. This way of thinking about and acting on innovation and the future, one in which you have been deeply engaged during your time here, is dependent on being human-centered. The potential value and risk of knowledge, discovery, and innovation comes from the human expression and application of technology and ideas. The latest technologies do not transform how we live and work by their existence alone, but instead by how we use them, whether for good or for ill. As the emerging leaders who will help shape and reshape the future of how people around the world live, you have the opportunity to ensure the scientific and technological innovations that enable all individuals and communities, not just the privileged, to thrive. As you surely know, making the world a better place is not easy. An orientation towards justice, equity, and sustainability often run counter to the prevailing forces, such as profit motive, that frequently determine how innovative ideas and technologies are developed, assessed, and used. It requires committed leadership to actualize our ideals. It requires risking ourselves in service of what we believe is the right way to move into the future and solve yesterday's and today's problems. Never has humanity had such power over itself, yet nothing ensures it will be used wisely. Sometimes technology that is meant to connect us ends up dividing us. Technology is capable of doing great things, But the technology itself doesn't want to do great things. It doesn't want anything. Humanity is what makes technology real and tangible. Using it for good requires that we apply our values, our commitment to our families, and our neighbors and our communities. Every one of us, every time we pick up our smartphones, has the opportunity to use technology to express our love of beauty, to share our dreams and beliefs that we are all interconnected, and to show our decency and our kindness. Being humane makes the difference. To keep people at the center of what you do can have an enormous impact. Whatever you do in your life, you must be infused with the humanity that each of us is born with. That responsibility is immense, but so is the opportunity. I'm optimistic because I believe in your generation, your passion, and your journey to serve humanity wisely. We are all counting on you. Don't let any noise knock you off course. Don't get caught up in the trivial aspects of life. Measure your impact in your support of the people you encounter on a daily basis, not in social media likes, but in the lives that you touch, not in popularity, but in the people that you serve. Stay focused on what really matters. There will be times when your resolve to serve humanity will be tested. Be prepared. People will try to convince you that you should keep your empathy out of your career. Don't accept this false premise. When you are convinced that you are the cause is right and that your cause is right, have the courage to take a stand. If you see a problem or an injustice, recognize that you are needed to fix it. This kind of leadership, and it is leadership, and this kind of commitment to a more just, equitable, and sustainable future transcends the knowledge and the tools that we use to achieve these goals. Keeping positive outcomes for people, individually and collectively, at the center of your work can serve as an important compass for navigating challenging leadership decisions, and it can have an enormous impact on our shared future. To serve humanity in this way is an immense challenge, but also an unparalleled opportunity. And so, as you make this important transition from your own past and present into your future, the very transition we are here today to mark and celebrate, I invite you to consider the awesome responsibility we all share to serve one another, our families, our neighbors, our communities, and more broadly, our global society. As you go forward today, use your minds and your hands and your hearts to build something bigger than yourselves. Always remember, there is no idea bigger than the one you have in your head right now. If you keep that big idea at the forefront of all that you do, if you choose to live your lives at the intersection between science and the people it serves, if you strive to create the best, give the best, do the best for everyone, not just for some, then today, all of humanity has good cause for hope. I believe that you have the power to affect change in this world. Go forth and do great things. The world is watching. Make us proud. Good luck and Godspeed, Class of 2019.
Thank you, Chevy. We have heard from the faculty. We've heard from our invited speaker. It is now time to hear from our students. Our school has chosen 2 students to speak on behalf of their graduating class, Jadine Cobb and Nate Wade. Now, you applaud. Dr. Gustin gave a very long introduction to Jadine just a few moments ago, so I'm not going to replicate that. But just wanted to welcome her up to the stage, our most outstanding undergraduate and our speaker for today. Please join me up here at the podium, Jadine. And we can welcome Jadine as she makes her way up here.
So I decided to go paperless. So I brought my iPad up. Okay. Wow, undergrads and graduates, congratulations, we did it. Students, you've studied, you've stayed consistent, you made lifelong connections with your peers and instructors, and somehow you managed to balance multiple identities as students, workers, parents, community leaders, and engaged students and citizens. As your peer, I just want to say again, I am so proud of you. During my time with you this afternoon, I thought about trying to explain what it means to study innovation in society, because honestly, I'm still not sure my mom understands what I've been doing here at ASU. But Mom, I told you this was a real degree. So I'm not going to explain what innovation in society means, because honestly, you'll spend the rest of your life explaining that to your potential employer. So instead, I'm going to share a story that inspires me, that has connected me to my local community and has led me to lead with empathy. So one day when I was boarding the light rail, I sat in front of a very young girl I did not recognize. Shortly after sitting down, I felt a really soft tap on my shoulder, and I turned around and she said, "I think I know you. Do you remember me?" I smiled and apologized and tried to reassure her that I was really curious and wanted to know how we were both connected. She said that I was a volunteer at a youth event she attended, and I was excited that she recognized me and followed up with, "How are things going?" So her eyes became really wide and her body was stiffened. She shared with me that she was living in a domestic violence home because she was a teenager that was sex trafficked for 2 years of her life. She told me every day that she took the train because she takes leftovers from her shelter that she's at into a park downtown Phoenix, where she fed the homeless. Despite being emotionally and physically abused, the 17-year-old girl believed she could do something to make a difference. And she told me something that I believe we can all learn. She said, "No matter what you go through, I believe my purpose is to make a big impact on the world and to make it a better place." She also said, "Because if it's not her, then who?" I am sharing this story to remind you that of all the obligations you have, being a community member is one of them. I want to challenge you that no matter what or where you end up, that you would lead with empathy. And if there is one thing that we all have learned here at the School for the Future of Innovation in Society, is that creative solutions are not enough to solve the disparities that are happening nationwide and globally, but designing modern and social systems fueled by empathy and inclusion can progress society much quicker. My hope for us all is that as innovators, that we would have this social responsibility to create a future for everyone. You and I will be challenged in our professional and our personal lives, but I ask that you never forget your values. That your values would be the thing that would anchor you when you feel like your contributions and your disciplines are going unfruitful. So another thing that I wanted to share was that for some of you that will be involved in some of the most interesting and new emerging disciplines like space law, yeah, that's a real thing. Ask Gigi, she's somewhere out there. Another thing I want to challenge you with is to know that you're worthy enough to do something extraordinary and to believe in the world unseen and to create new policies that will protect the dignity and the quality of life for our people. Or even just to be a part of the next big venture. Whatever you do, don't forget the community around you, and again, to lead with empathy. Martin Luther King once said, I'm going to quote him too, "You are not only responsible for what you say, but also for what you don't say." So for those who feel overwhelmed with passion despite this transition, that really is a gift. And for those of you who are more confused on this path, please just stay optimistic. So remember that there is no plan B because you're adequate enough to reach your aspirations, even if you're kind of left of center. And as for me, I'm going to continue to advocate for mental health, go to grad school, and try to lead an equity-centered design movement for the tech industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Jadine. Our graduate student speaker is Nate Wade. Nate has earned his PhD in the human and social dimensions of science and technology. He completed his PhD while working full-time as the Senior Director, Strategic Analysis and Performance Improvement in ASU's College of Health Solutions. He's got a few fans in here, evidently. Nate has a wealth of experience working with students in the STEM disciplines, developing innovative engagement opportunities, and advising students in the pre-health professions. His dissertation explored 3 topics. 1, proactive policymaking for genomic privacy, piracy, and property. 2, socio-technical futures of our lifespan. And 3, is healthcare a public value? As a testament to how thorough he is, he completed his dissertation defense without being asked to do one revision. I wish I had that. Nate has been described as a hardworking, kind, and model student. Please join me in welcoming Nate to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Wetmore. Fellow graduates, I've been fortunate to work in higher education for the past 15 years. During that time, I've served as a hiring manager for numerous positions, and one of the questions that I particularly like to ask candidates about involves their strengths and weaknesses. Being self-aware and providing examples is one aspect of the question, but how they have honed their strengths and attempted to improve their weaknesses is the other part of the question. For me, some of my weaknesses include pronunciation, enunciation, and the speed at which I talk. For enunciation and pronunciation, I was doomed at birth. I come from what was a very small rural town, a little over 2,000 people in Alabama. The town is called Helena. Yes, spelled like Helena, Montana, but pronounced with a very long southern E. At a more recent public speaking engagement, there was a sign language interpreter for presenters. During my presentation, the interpreter actually had to stop me and ask me to slow down because she couldn't sign as fast as I was talking. Knowing some of my weaknesses, you may understand why I was a bit apprehensive about today. But this opportunity allows me to continue to work on improving those weaknesses. I came to ASU for both school and employment. When people ask about living in Phoenix and being a student and employee at ASU, I say the same thing to everyone. It has been the best academic and professional move of my life. But I wouldn't have been here without following the same advice that I often share with my students. Additionally, I've learned numerous lessons along the way that aren't solely academic. Although they may sound cliche, I hope the examples that I share will resonate and not seem like a rattling off of a list of hollow platitudes. There are several points to cover, and I've already shared the first, which is to be aware of your strengths and weaknesses and work to improve upon them. The next point is to be present, pay attention, seek opportunities, and follow through. The Maxwell School at Syracuse was the first program I encountered that produced science and technology policy scholars. After speaking with one of the directors of their PhD program, I learned that I would need a master's in public administration. 2 years later, I was wrapping up my MPA with eyes set towards earning a PhD from the Maxwell School. That all changed after a chance encounter with a keynote speaker at a national conference. He offered me 2 pieces of advice. One was to go to the best program, and the other was to go where the best person in the field was. He offered to connect me with his colleague at the University of Georgia, who he considered to be the best person in the field. Fast forward to 4 months after that meeting, I visited the University of Georgia to meet my future committee chair. I learned that he was headed to ASU. I applied for and secured employment at ASU and the newly established College of Health Solutions, I packed my bags and I moved to Phoenix sight unseen. This brings me to my next 2 points. The first is to be aware of signs, follow your intuition, and remember that your career, academic, and life paths aren't always linear or what you had planned. I mention signs because there are 2 signs that have followed me throughout my life. It sounds a little hokey, but it's true. And 2 of my biggest life decisions involving moving to another state for either a job or school, those signs presented themselves. One is so absurd that I rarely tell people what it is, and that won't be changing today. But when visiting Georgia and sitting in on a doctoral seminar taught by my future mentor, that sign showed up in his lecture slide. After that, my intuition was on high alert, and that brings me to the next point, which is to take calculated risks. Moving without having ever visited the academic program I was interested in, or visiting ASU, or the place where I would work and live, or the city of Phoenix, or even the state of Arizona, was an extremely tough decision. It was a calculated risk, and one that I am so happy that I took. In my social network theory and analysis class, we explored the small world phenomenon. My next point is that it truly is a small world, and academia is even smaller. When sitting in one of my classes, my professor showed a slide of his academic family tree. He had at least 44 PhD advisees, and on that chart, 4 university presidents appeared. Of those, I had met and worked for 3 of the 4 as an employee of the universities they were leading. Another small world example, the faculty director that I spoke with from Syracuse back in 2010 ended up coming to ASU and being my econometrics professor some 6 years later. In closing, find your champions, keep in touch with them, and always remember to thank them for what they have done for you. Also, remember those who've invested in your success and give back in whatever way you can. The School for the Future of Innovation in Society supported me and allowed me to study genomics, philosophy, ethics, and policy at the University of Vienna. SFIS also supported me in presenting at 2 international conferences in Asia. Up until those trips, this small-town guy from Alabama had never been able to travel internationally across the Atlantic or the Pacific. For that and so many other reasons, I'm forever grateful to SFIS and pledge to continue to give back to the school for their investment in my education and my success, and I hope you will too. By the way, no one on the stage asked me to say that stuff. One more small world thing, whenever I was in the conference in Asia, I ran into a guy who was studying public administration from my hometown of Helena. Finally, there are so many challenges we face today, but they're not insurmountable. Our school and university have prepared us to tackle and solve those challenges. I hope that you will use your knowledge, talents, and abilities to improve the lives of others, humanity, and society. Thank you for your time today, and congratulations, graduates.
Thank you, Nate. It is now time to recognize our graduates. Our reader for this evening is Gary Grossman, the school's Associate Director for Programs. Please give Dr. Gary Grossman a warm round of applause.
Thank you, Dr. Wetmore. Dr. Gustin, I have the honor to present those graduates who have been recommended for degrees by the faculty of the School for the Future of Innovation in Society. Will the graduates of all programs please rise and come forward? I can't see. Are we there yet? Okay. We will now present the graduates for the PhD, the highest degree our university bestows. In this case, for the PhD in Human and Social Dimensions of Science and Technology. Dr. Eric Johnston will be hooding. Nathaniel Lane Wade. We will now present the graduates for the Master of Science in Global Technology and Development. Dr. Fahim Hussein will be hooding. Farah Nahar Arvelo. Rebecca Devlin. Okay. Natalie Mokbel Asmar. Laura Elizabeth Prickett. We will now present the graduates for the Master of Science We will now present the graduates for the Master of Science and Technology Policy. Dr. Andrew Maynard will be hooding. Jessica Givens. Kayla Cutter. Menka Catherine Van Sant. We will now present our fourth class of undergraduates. Earning a Bachelor of Science in Innovation in Society, Jeffrey Orion Chapin. Jadine Cobb. Sidney Ford, Jr. Justin D. Goodman. Jordan Carey. Paul Millet. Victor Sorat Catalan. James Spizak. Ryan Wilson. Dr. Gustin, I have the honor to present these graduates who have been recommended by the faculty of the School for the Future of Innovation in Society.
Thank you, Dr. Grossman. Today, we recognize these graduates and the degrees that were conferred upon them by the President of Arizona State University, Dr. Michael Crow, upon the recommendation of the faculty. I hereby acknowledge the degrees you have received from the school, and I admit you to the fellowship of educated persons with all of its rights, honors, privileges, and obligations. All graduates, please rise and turn to face your family and friends. Assembled friends, Arizona State University and the School for the Future of Innovation in Society proudly present to you the graduates of Spring 2019.
So, as is our tradition, please rise while we sing the alma mater. And if you haven't memorized it yet, you will find it on the back page of your program. Please be seated. Evidently, the lyrics are conveniently located in front of you, so you all look like you knew exactly what you were doing. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the Spring 2019 Convocation of the School for the Future of Innovation in Society. As the recessional begins, we ask that you please remain seated until the platform party and graduates have exited the theater. The platform party will leave first, followed by the graduates, and then we will have a reception in the lobby, so please do join us there Thank you, and congratulations to the 8th cohort of the SFIS alumni faculty.